happened. Moving on to big news coming through on the Dhoot ICICI or Chanda Kochar combined, and that entire case of the loan between Videocon and ICICI Bank, the involvement of VenugopalDhoot and Chanda Kochar under scrutiny, and a special CBI court has rejected a plea filed by Venugopal, the Videocon Group Chairman VenugopalDhoot, challenging his arrest by the CBI. Now, there is a background to this. We'll go across to Ashish Merishi to understand more. Ashish, if you can hear me, it had actually come from Chanda Kochar's point of view or from their lawyers that VenugopalDhoot is equally complicit, and that's why Videocon should also be brought under scrutiny. The chairman VenugopalDhoot was in connivance and he should be arrested too. And did the arrest then happen? And this challenge now being rejected by the special CBI court.
Anand, before we go into the merits and demerits on why the bail was rejected for VenugopalDhoot, let's go into the background of the case. The background of the case is very clear that there are certain allegations which reveal that Videocon got loans from ICICI Bank, and in lieu of that, kickbacks were given to a company where 50% of the equity was being held by none other than the husband of Chanda Kochar, that was Deepak Kochar, and the company's name is NU Power. The amount that was received from this company, which was basically a subsidiary of Videocon, this was, they transferred around 64 crore rupees in lieu of a loan which was around 350 crore rupees. In totality, around 1875 crore rupees of loans were issued. But what was not declared by Chanda Kochar was the fact that, she was staying in a house which was owned by by Videocon. She was basically a director and a shareholder of a company where Videocon was substantial holder of equity. So there are certain facts which were not highlighted to the board of ICICI, and ultimately you remember that Deepak Kochar and Chanda Kochar were rejected, and now subsequently when Videocon chairman VenugopalDhoot was also summoned, he was also arrested. Now they have been sent to judicial custody until the 10th.
Right.
The challenge in the court was basically, they said that the challenge in the court was that he cooperated, and despite that he has been arrested, but that merit did not fall in line with what the court thought, and that is why his bail stands rejected.
Right. Now we've got more information coming in that this does not stop here. As the investigating authorities are doing a deep dive into Videocon's affairs, startling details have now emerged, ladies and gentlemen, and we'll go across to that aspect where CNN News 18 has accessed the entire FIR in a second case against VenugopalDhoot, which actually reveals a much bigger scam, ladies and gentlemen. And I'm going to spell out the details. Our investigations editor Manoj Gupta and Ashish Merishi both are contributing to this story. Let's try and understand why this scam could be much, much bigger. In fact, this scam could be nearly the total amount of about 14,185 crores. We were to look at the value of the rupee to the dollar at 51 rupees at that time. And that it does not stop only with ICICI Bank. Was a consortium of banks involved led by SBI. Were officials of the SBI during that period, along with other bank officials of various other banks, also involved in this entire scam? That's the bigger question. Let's try and get you the details. Now, what is under lens is in 2012, SBI-led consortium cleared a $2.7 billion credit to one of the subsidiaries of Videocon itself, VHHL. VHHL is a subsidiary of Videocon Industries Limited. VHHL gained credit to develop overseas oil and gas assets. VHHL gained additional credit of $1.1 billion via the consortium. The credit to VHHL included a $400 million extension from Standard Chartered Bank or SCB in London. Then, Videocon Industries Limited informed the consortium that the SCB loan or the loan from Standard Chartered Bank had increased to $530 million. So from $400 million to $530 million, an upward jump of $130 million. SBI-led consortium then paid $530 million loan to SCB London. So they offset that loan. They paid Standard Chartered Bank London $530 million. The $530 million loan was paid reportedly without any verification. The consortium of banks did not do a due diligence and a deep dive that how is it that their $400 million extension has gone up to $530 million, towards what has this amount been paid for. No due diligence was done, but this money was paid off, was squared off. Then we are given to understand what the FIR actually says is that the consortium did not take control of Videocon Industries Limited's oil and gas assets. After you've paid off a particular loan, would you not hypothecate the property against which this loan has been taken? That was not done. That is exactly what the FIR says. The loan account between SCB London, that is Standard Chartered Bank London, and VHHL also was not closed. So despite paying off the loan account was not closed. The SBI-led consortium allowed the flow of loans from Standard Chartered Bank London. Assets of VIL were not placed or as collateral for hefty loans. The consortium officers conspired with VenugopalDhoot. The racket caused a wrongful gain to Videocon Industries Limited, heavy loss to the consortium of banks, and that's public money. The amount is nearly $2,773 million or nearly 14,145 crores based on that the rate at that time, dollar to rupee rate of 51 at that time. Ashish Mehrishi with more. This is a big scam then, 14,000 crore scam, and that too orchestrated by Videocon Industries Limited. So VenugopalDhoot now in the dock, not just for what happened with ICICI Bank, but this consortium was also used to siphon off funds.
So Anand, I remember this because this case has been in the public domain for quite some time. Though the CBI has registered this case recently about siphoning of around 14,000 crore rupees. Now these are basically oil and gas assets which were in Mozambique, which was taken over by ONGC Videsh Limited after the Videocon Industries faltered in paying back the loans. So the money came into the consortium, it came into the escrow amount, and it should have been distributed among the consortium of banks accordingly on the pro rata basis, but that never happened, and that is why the allegation is that the consortium officer connived with the owners of Videocon, that is the Dhoots, and ultimately that money was siphoned off. Around 14,000 crore rupees have been siphoned off. So money that was basically your money, my money, it's the public money which was supposed to be basically repaid to the bank, that never happened, and the consortium chief was none other than the State Bank of India. So certainly it's not only the ICICI Bank, the exposure of the Videocon group was more than 50,000 crore rupees, and there have been various defaults by the Videocon group, and that is why we can say in days to come Dhoot is going to be in further trouble.
Yeah, so in this case, if this consortium had to be led by a senior bank official, and there were multiple banks involved, so is the CBI now going to extend the scope of the investigation and also pull up those officials who were in charge at that time? Can they get away if they have demitted office, or are they still criminally culpable, Ashish?
So, obviously, once even if you have demitted the office, or if you have retired or whatever, if you have signed on the file, if you have not, paid heed to the red flags that were visible, those officers can certainly be brought to book. There is no doubt about it. So that can certainly happen in days to come.
And do we know that was VHHL and VenugopalDhoot directly in connivance? Where did this money go? Were more loans extended from the Standard Chartered Bank London?
Anand, I'm 100% sure because these documents were in my possession almost 3-4 years back about on how Videocon authorities connived with various bank officials and they cheated the banks by more than 14,000 crore rupees. Though the FIR has been registered now, but this has been in public domain, or you can say at least with the reporters and the agencies for quite some time. And whether it is Standard Chartered Bank, whether it is the bank based out of London, whether it is the State Bank of India, it looks to be that all these officers were involved, and they certainly helped and connived with Videocon authorities.